The prosecution has wrapped its closing argument in New York, where disgraced singer R. Kelly is on trial for sex trafficking and racketeering. Testimony in the federal trial lasted 6 weeks. Kelly's defense is now preparing to speak this afternoon. BNC's Dray Clark, he has been following this case from the beginning. He's outside that courthouse in Brooklyn. Dray, what's the latest?
Tashani, good afternoon. Elizabeth Geddes is the assistant U.S. attorney who was leading the prosecution's team. She spent more than 6 hours giving her closing arguments to the jury. She was very meticulous and very detail-oriented. She actually started the initial phase of her arguments yesterday afternoon. There was a recess, and she concluded at around 12 o'clock today. Now, Geddes told the jury of 12 men and women that R. Kelly ran a vast criminal enterprise for decades, but she says he could not have done it without the help of his entourage, which included drivers, bodyguards, and personal assistants. She said Kelly groomed boys, girls, and young women for his sexual gratification, and that he dominated them by using physical abuse and threats of humiliation. Geddes made reference to several of the alleged victims throughout her closing argument to support her claim that she believes R. Kelly deserves a conviction. She concluded by telling the jury it's time to hold Kelly responsible for the pain he inflicted on each of his victims. She said now is the time for the defendant, Robert Kelly, to pay for his crimes. Convict him. And with that, she concluded her closing arguments to the jury. Now, later on this afternoon, R. Kelly's defense team will begin making its presentation, closing arguments for the jury. They certainly have their work cut out for them. The prosecution, over the course of 6 weeks, called 45 witnesses. R. Kelly's defense team only called 5. But all it takes is for the R. Kelly's defense team is to convict, or I should say convince, one of the juries of reasonable doubt, and that could very well end up in a hung jury, if you will. But for right now, the prosecution has done a really good job, a stellar job, in fact, of laying out a very elaborate case, hoping that they will win the jury over and see a conviction when everything concludes. We'll have more in our coverage on the United States versus Robert Sylvester Kelly later on today. For now, I'm reporting live in New York. I'm Dray Clark for BNC. Tashani.
Dray, thank you.